Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Matt Tuck from Bullet For My Valentine, and you're listening to Morgan Richards on Radio Cardiff.
Hey, I'm Morgan Richards from Radio Cardiff for 90.7 FM. I'm very pleased to say that I'm backstage at the Brangan Hall in Swansea. I'm joined by a band who scream, aim and fired their way to world domination over the last decade. It's of course those Venom and Raising Hell army of noise from South Wales. It's the wonderful Mr. Matt Tuck of Bullet For My Valentine.
All right, fella?
How's it going?
Good, man. Very good.
Yeah? How's things?
Good. Coming to the end of this UK stint before we head into Europe. So good. About halfway there. Feeling good. Band's sounding good. Crowds have been great. So everything's cool.
So Matt, lately a lot of people have been saying there's been almost this fresh injection of life into the band after you released your fifth record, Venom, and returned to a much more heavier sound. Do you feel that almost taking this step back to the original mentality of Bullet For My Valentine has really helped you grow to this new chapter and get back on track to the band you've always wanted to be?
I don't think so. I mean, because we kind of made the decision to do the album mostly before the tour even existed. So it's kind of just something where what we wanted to do. It's kind of where we felt we were at in our career, and it's something that we just wanted to do. And just backing it up with a more back to basics, longer regional style tour rather than the massive venues. Again, was something that we never really got an opportunity to do because we went from such small venues to such big ones so quick that we didn't really have to do this. So to do it at this stage of our career, it feels a little bit odd, but it's been an amazing decision. The fans have been freaking out. They can't believe that, oh my God, you're in Aylesbury, my home, stuff like that. It's just like, from a fan's point of view, it's been the best decision we've made in years, and actually on the end of it now and kind of experienced it and done it, and it's been a huge success. It's like, we should have done this a while ago, It's not something we're going to do every time, obviously, but, backing up a new album with a tour like this is a really good move,
And going back to, of course, Venom having a much more heavier sound, there's sort of that early raw vibes in the first two records with this new material mixed with the maturity you guys have had throughout the years. So was it a really conscious decision to go back to this way of writing?
All we wanted to do was make something that was exciting, something that was a lot more aggressive and heavy. And that was really, that's all kind of all the criteria we were looking for, So we just spent a lot of time writing it, making sure that it hit those 3 or 4 essential ingredients that we were after, and if it didn't, we just didn't use them. Even at the demo stage, we just kind of scrapped them and started to do another song, So, having that maturity to do that, I think, obviously comes with having the band been out for so long now. But yeah, we didn't want to sound like a new band. We wanted to sound like a younger band that had that ferocity and that pissed offness and that anger that we had far more apparent in the early days, So it's not something that I think any band can continue. And on a genuine level as well, especially with how the band's been and the success we've had. We're not the same guys we were 10 years ago. We've had amazing success. We've traveled the world. We've done amazing things. We've conquered everything we've ever achieved. So to keep that level of ferocity and that anger is definitely hard, But that's kind of what we wanted to do on this one, and it took a while to capture it. But if it didn't fit those goals, like I said, we didn't kind of persist on trying to write it. We just kind of scrapped it.
And you actually returned with producer Colin Richardson, who you actually worked on those first 2 records.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think getting back in the studio with him really helped to hone in on that sound?
I think sound-wise, yeah. The main reason why we picked Colin, and there was another guy that co-produced it with him called Carl Bown, was because they believe in the band. We didn't want someone that was doing it for a gig. We spoke to a lot of producers in LA. We actually did just a trip to LA and had a sit down with about 4 or 5 big name producers. And they were all great, and I'm sure they would have done a great job, but everyone has, especially if you're a legit producer, your job is to produce an album, you know what I mean? And we don't need that. We need someone to steer the boat and keep it in the direction we want to go at.
Okay.
So we didn't want anyone taking over the session and telling us how we should sound, and that's what they do. If you're a good producer, that's what you do, and that's why you hire the producers, and that's why we didn't do it. And Colin and Carl believe in the band. All they do, not to kind of downplay their role, because it was essential that they were there, but what was beautiful about the relationship that we have with Colin, he lets us do what we want and he captures it. Okay. And that's best. That's how it works for us, Yeah. We don't want anyone to steer our ship. We're steering it ourselves. We just want someone to make sure we don't stray from the path that we've set on, and that's what Carl and Colin did amazing. They just, they didn't have much input creatively, but they would nudge us back into shape when we were straight. It's just a really nice, simple relationship.
And with that, recently a lot of things have been said and come out from your last record, Temper Temper, with you describing it as tainted before it began, an area you don't really want to dwell too much on. But with everything that happened, was it really a wake-up call and the kick you needed to motivate yourselves becoming just closer as a band in general?
Yeah, I think, I think that album gets a lot of stick for reasons that I can't really see, to be honest. But everyone has their opinions, everyone has their, especially with a band like us now having 5 albums, there's always going to be a hierarchy of what people think is the best, or should I say the favourite, because the best is personal opinion, I guess, So it was just kind of, it didn't achieve what we thought it would achieve. It would be most metal bands' dream to do what that album did, in reality. To put it in perspective, it did really well, we had really great numbers, we toured the world a couple of times, we had big headlines, festival slots. So in our world, as it was nothing but a success, But just felt that a lot of people, and the media especially, it wasn't what they expected to hear. So immediately they think it's bad, And it's like, well, no, there's a difference. If you don't like it and it wasn't what you expected to hear, that doesn't mean it's anything other than something you didn't expect, So, but taking all the criticism on board that we did get from that, we did take it on board and we did learn from it, and we have become a stronger band because of it. And we did learn a lot of not to do's because of that record, I guess. We did become complacent, we didn't really take control of the situation when it came to videos and singles, and the whole build up and release of the record is essential these days, and that's why this one was so slick and it was so on point. That's because we took charge of that.
And Venom actually marks the first record of your new bassist Jaime joining the ranks. Now, you've all known him for quite a bit of time with his old band Revolca, so was it just a really natural choice for him to come in?
It was only really Padge that had a relationship with him. I only knew him as soon as he started doing auditions. That was the first time I ever met him. But he was good. We did loads of auditions and got audition tapes in and videos and stuff. And he definitely was on point. He did the job perfectly in the audition when we weren't there. And it was just like, okay, let's get him in while we were making the record, and did a couple of live auditions. And it was just like he'd always been there. And having that Welsh connection obviously was a massive plus. Not that we were looking for someone Welsh or excluding anyone to be in the band. It just happened to be that he was, and it was perfect.
Okay, well, fantastic. And really, it seems like a perfect fit, because with Revolca, you used to scream a lot on vocals, and it really matches this really back-in thing for you guys live, especially with some of the older material.
Yeah, he's kind of purpose-built for our band, which is exactly why he's got the gig. He just, every box that we were looking for, he ticked, and no one else that came to the table, as good as they were, they didn't tick every box, So it was like, this is a dream come true, It's like this has made it very easy. So yeah, it was a situation that we thought was going to be a complete nightmare, because there were a lot of boxes, and we have a very kind of good idea of what we want someone to be, because now we've got that opportunity to pick someone to be in our band rather than just your mates that are in a band. It's the first time it's ever happened, so like, let's just get it right. And he came along and nailed it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
and Matt, just a couple more very quick things now before you go. One thing everyone seems to be talking to you about at the moment is festivals, and everyone backing you to really become headline acts for especially Download in the near future. But there is a lot of rumours at the moment that you guys are going to be at the 2016 edition at one of the high slots.
Whatever you've heard or whatever I've heard is literally rumours. We're not confirmed or not confirmed to play Download this year or next year. Yeah, it's just that isn't part. It just hasn't happened. So yeah, but there is, a lot of people are gunning for us to be a headliner, which is amazing. A lot of people are gunning for us not to be a headliner. I don't know. So it's just personal opinion, and whether Andy wants to take that risk and put in a younger, hungrier band to take over. The first announcement obviously was made yesterday. And I don't think anyone really was surprised. It's just like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, here we go again. But so for us, seeing stuff like that, as legendary as these bands are, it's a bit boring, So I would like people, to see people like Andy taking risks. It's not even risks. It's just stepping out from that kind of boring, stale, churning out the 5 or 6 headliners every year for the last 10 years. It's just like I find it insane.
And just one thing I did want to talk to you about is that at the moment, a lot of bands are seeing it quite popular to revisit older material and play them in full for one-off shows and tours. Now, next year actually marks the 10th year worldwide anniversary of the debut album, The Poison. If the demand was there for you guys to do a few small shows with that. Would it be something you'd be open to?
Yeah, well, we've already hit the 10-year anniversary about 2 weeks ago here in the UK, but it did come out 2016 in the US and stuff like that, so there is a little bit of a timeline difference. So at the minute, there's just not enough hours in the day. You know, we've just had another new album drop like a couple of months ago, and we're very much focused on that. We don't want to take anything away from it. You know, we think it's a great record. It's a record for us that has kind of solidified us again as a big hitter across the world. You know, we had number ones all across the planet, and so we just don't want to detract any attention away from it, because it deserves to have its moment.
Yeah.
You know, the Poison's come and gone, and it did amazing things. But maybe next year, if we do find a bit of time, we'd love to celebrate that fact. We'd love nothing more. But at the minute, it's just all eyes on Venom. You know.
Okay, well, fantastic. Well, that's about it. Cheers, Matt, for taking a quick time out to
No worries.
chat with me. Yeah, best of luck now with everything in the near future, and hopefully
Cool,
we'll catch you guys again very soon.
All right, thank you.